Welcome to my show. I'm a guest here. Her name is Victoria Steward. Mrs. Victoria, how are you doing, ma'am?
I'm beautiful. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much, Mrs. Victoria. And also, thank you so much for the time and the opportunity. Firstly, you are a financial empowerment coach. You are also the
Correct.
host of the Science Root podcast. Can you please, Mrs. Victoria, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mrs. Victoria?
So, I am a financial empowerment coach, and my goal is to help senior corporate women leave if that's what they want, especially if they've been stuck in a one more year loop. And so my background is actually working for 20 years with the US Navy as a civilian. And after 20 years, it was time to turn the chapter. And I just started to explore the things that I was struggling with and what I was curious about. So, following curiosity led me to energy healing and Reiki and animal communication. And then this Amber Duggar's coaching certification for her Profit for Keeps framework, financial framework. And then I've just been continuing on this exploration of wanting to help women who are in the situation I was like 3 years ago be able to leave their jobs if they realize it is what they want to do, to leave in a way that feels exciting, like they have the freedom to do so, and that they feel empowered to take that next step.
Very much beautiful. And the most beautiful thing is financial aid for women and also giving the guidance is very much powerful because due to the experience and also the elderly ones, I think the experience could be built as something that can actually create a source of financial income and also creating that sense of guidance for them as well. And also as a financial empowerment coach, from the experience you've had, have you written any book or are you planning to write any book in the coming future? Mrs. Victoria.
Books, not yet. Um, I'm still um, I don't know if you've had a guest on who's talked about human design before, but I like for me to like, I need to respond to something. So starting off with like a blank slate of like an empty page or something like that feels very difficult. So I need to start like answering questions. That feels natural and easy. Starting out with like an idea, I'm going to write a book sounds really hard. So I'll never say no, but right now I'm enjoying the coming on podcasts, having my podcast, talking to people, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Definitely, we do not know what tomorrow tells, but we actually
Mm-mm.
commit to do what we can do to actually make things bright and also make things better as well. I would also
Yeah.
like to drive to someone who have financial success, professional status, and also external achievements. Then yet they still feel emotionally dependent on their career they no longer want. How do you think someone can actually build themselves on that area, Mrs. Victoria?
So I feel like we a lot of times get stuck in this place of where we think our worth comes from your success in your career, the income, the title. Sometimes it's just the title. And typically, we've learned this in childhood somewhere, whether it's how our parents related to us, like if you did well in school, you were praised. If you didn't, you were not, right? Like sometimes it's sports, sometimes it's like it felt a little transactional. Um, and you wanted the gold star on your report because that was how you knew you were doing something right. So it was coming from outside of you. And so as you get older, that translates into whether it's university, then into your job. And if you've never taken the time to pull yourself back and investigate this and be like, okay, what is really going on here? We just kind of we perpetuate it a little bit longer by that it's your job, it is your career. And when we want to kind of zoom out, right, separate that identity, sometimes it doesn't happen until after you've done it. Like for example, when I left my job of 20 years, I was on a trip and somebody asked me, "What do you do?" And I completely froze. Like I was just like, uh, I felt shame. I felt embarrassed. It was like all of a sudden I was not a useful member of society. And it was 5 days after I had left. And I just had to, I like panicked and I said, well, I do nothing, right? Because that's like the question we ask each other. Well, what do you do? Instead of like, who are you? Like, what do you love? Like, we don't ask kind of that deeper question. So it always reinforces this idea that we are dependent on our jobs to be of value. And that is a very difficult thing to pull apart.
Exactly, which is very much beautiful as someone in the position because sometimes we usually feel like success is everything, the money we have, and also the
Mm-hmm.
hate that we have as well. But sometimes we have to also realize that there are also more to it. There are a lot of things that also needs to be considered as well, and also things that
Yes.
actually needs to be emotionally attached for us to actually have a beautiful and also emotional and also happy life as well. Which is why I would like
Yes.
to drive to the point of high achievers who also are in the
Mm-hmm.
position whereby they are trapped. But what role do you think fear, lifestyle expectation, identity, and also self worth, what role do you think it plays in making it hard to live when they know something needs to change in their life, Mrs. Victoria?
So I think when you've tied your entire like almost like your personality is in like fully integrated into your career, if you've that has been your priority, I feel like people who have families and have a lot of extracurricular activities, they do a little better, right? Their whole identity is not tied into their careers. But when that has happened where you're really good at your job, you move up, people come to you because they know the work will get done and done well. You get, it's like a perpetual reinforcement of this is who I am, and it keeps coming back to that, keeps coming back to that. And that unknown of what will happen if you say, okay, let me pull myself out of this, I will take myself over here, I will create something new. That unknown causes like a destabilization for your own identity, because who are you if if you aren't this person who's really great at their job, right? And that instability, that fear kind of gets you to contract, right? Like it wants you to protect yourself, it wants you to stay still. And without taking, like without doing some of that work to kind of realize that who we are is not the external appearance, it's who we are inside. And that won't change whether you're change your job, lose your job, any of these things. It makes it very difficult to kind of open yourself up, to like open your heart for the to call in new possibilities and things like that. So uh, that fear like just causes that contraction. And there's many different ways to kind of start addressing those fears. You can do it with like working on your money, you can do it by working on boundaries. Oh, you know there's so many different entry points. And my entry point with my clients, and because it was really one for myself as well, is the money piece. Like, let's stabilize that foundation so that at least that's not creating additional disruptions and contraction, pulling you back, keeping you still.
Very much beautiful. We do know that fear is one of the greatest source to a lot of instability. And when someone
Mm-hmm.
is in the position of fear, it actually creates a lot of dysfunction, even in every activities one do.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the financial status, as you've said earlier, actually checking on the financial perspective and also other areas can actually help us build upon the perspective whereby fear could actually be in the position whereby it's actually ruling a lot of what and also areas in our life. So a lot
Yeah.
of things in that perspective when it comes to our lifestyle expectation and things like that, it is something we can try our best to manage and also see how we can actually try our best to make sure it doesn't get us into that loophole of fear as well. And also, I would
Yes.
like to drive to the point of many women who are capable
Mhm.
of building wealth, but they still struggle. Why do you think many women out there who are capable of building wealth still struggle to trust themselves enough to step away from the structures that made them successful, Mrs. Victoria?
I think a lot of times it's because we don't take the time to to sit and reflect, whether it's on the life itself, right? Like, does this still fit me? Everything else, a lot of like we were already talking about, like you're moving in through your career, you're taking the steps, you're doing the things. You don't take stock of, like, is my life growing the way I want it to? Am I spending my money on the places that mean something to me? Right? We get like, oh, I'm now making this much money, so I should get the bigger house. I should buy the fancy car. I should take myself to a on this like amazing trip. And for some people that is in alignment, right? Because maybe if the bigger house equals bigger family, you know, taking trips is something that is really important to a lot of people, right? Like, but if we're just always comparing to what everybody else is doing, right? Like, oh well, they bought a new car, they bought a big house, they went for 2 weeks to who knows at a five-star resort. Maybe those things are important to you, but maybe they are not, right? So your life has grown into this kind of potentially giant thing that requires this income that you currently have, and you get a raise, it will kind of expand just because there is more money, right? It's filling things in, unless you take a, and you've probably had many people talk about this, of like being still and reflecting. What does my life look like now? Is there anything I would like to change? Do I want to like expand in this direction, or am I happy here? And then what do I do with this extra money? Do I save it so I have this freedom to make decisions moving forward? Do I want to invest in something? Do I want to start a business? Do I want to invest in my friend's business? Right? Like, it doesn't always have to be like, let me keep up with what I think my neighbors are doing. Um, and I think because a lot of times we keep moving forward thinking our path or plan is the right one, that you get to a certain point and you're like, oh, I don't even know how I got here, because it was just like autopilot. And taking the time, like throughout our journeys, to take a look around and be like, yes, yes. Because I mean, even for myself, right? I left my career, I'm building a coaching business, but maybe in a few months, I'll look around and say, oh, I actually would like to change what I am doing, right? None of it is a failure, but we're forgetting to just check ourselves, give us a goal and a direction, but be like, okay, is this really true to me? Because it might be true for you now, but maybe it won't be in a few weeks, in a few months, in a couple of years. And I think that's the piece, because our world is so fast moving, that we're just like zoom, zoom, next, 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 and forget like, okay, let's take a breath. Is what is next? Do I want to roll it back a little? Do I still want to keep forward? And I think that's the part. It's like we're so focused on the success, on the next thing, on the bigger number, on the larger this, the bigger responsibility, that's not always the right answer for all of us.
Honestly speaking, this is a very, very huge point, Mrs. Victoria, because you actually brought out one of the most important area when it comes to success, reflection. We do understand that
Mm-hmm.
success can come in any time. We could be in the position
Yeah.
whereby we have a lot of financial success. And for us to sit down and actually build a sense of reflection, to actually calculate the best areas for us to have one or two things to actually build upon in regards to the financial aid that we are actually into is very, very
Mm-hmm.
huge. Not we do understand the world, as you said earlier, is a busy world. We want to have this, want to have that, the social medias and all those trends as well.
Yeah.
But actually sitting down and actually building that reflection and actually making the best plan that can work for you and also everyone in the community is very much huge. And also,
Yes.
I would just like to dive to the point of women who feel trapped by golden handcuffs. What do you think are some of the first steps you think they can take to help them build both financial runway and their inner
Mhm.
clarity needed to create a real exit, Mrs. Victoria?
So I think, and it goes right back to the previous question, is to sit down with yourself and be like, how long of a runway do I want? It could be some people, we all have different risk tolerances and what your goals are. Do you want to take 6 months off to travel the world? Do you want to be able to go on a meditation retreat so that you can settle your nervous system and decompress and release the stress so that then there's room for creativity, right? So, like sitting with, I would like it to be 6 months, I would like it to be 12 months. And then because the number of months equals how many dollars you need. And the curious thing that might happen for you is that no amount of months, no amount of money in your bank account will ever make you feel safe and ready. And that is a very important data point because then okay, there's some other work to do here. It's not just about the amount in the bank account. And so I think that goes back to like getting still, getting clear, kind of running a scenario in your mind, in your body of what does it feel like if I have 6 months worth of income in my bank account that I give myself 6 months of runway after I leave? What does it feel like if it's 9, if it's 12, if it's 18, 24? And if it perpetually stays in that state of fear or that contraction or that instability that we talked about, then then just focusing on the money is not going to actually answer the question. That is just, it's kind of providing you a reason why not to leave. And you're going to need to address the underlying, what is making you feel unsafe, that you're giving the power to the money, but really it has to come from you.
You can see how money can actually shift a person's trajectory, a person thinking, and a person way of life as well. It is a
Yeah.
source of power. Money is something that if we do not sit down and actually be in the position to clarify ourselves, to be in the
Mhm.
position to be in control of the money, it actually
Yeah.
does things that we do not expect, things that we do not personally even believe we can actually do with it. And that is why, as you've stated earlier, reflection, actually sitting down and actually making the
Mhm.
right decisions that can actually help one over time and also in everything one want to do in coming months, weeks, and also years as well. And also, I would just like to drive to the point of people who could be in the position to listen to our conversation and they are
Mhm.
quietly wondering why he or she still feels trapped despite earning well. What would you want her to remember about freedom, self trust, and the possibility of building a life that finally feels like a home? Mrs. Victoria.
I would like to normalize the fact that we all feel trapped in different ways. And whether you're saying just one more year or I need this amount, like all of it, all of that is valid. You are not wrong, right? Like we are all where we are based off of our life experiences. Nothing is wrong with any of us. And taking the time, like we've already said a few times, of just getting clear what you want your life to look like. Because, or more importantly, what do you want your life to feel like? So, because you may not need to actually leave, you may not need to actually, build your bank account to a certain amount, right? Like your life might be very close to what you actually desire. If you take the time to be like, what do I want it to feel like? Remember that, because your body remembers the memory of a visualization as reality, and it can start to notice in your current life where you feel the dream already. And so that way then it will remind you, okay, where do I have this already? Do I just need to tweak a few things in my life? Do I have something here with the money piece that will really settle the foundation so that then the rest of my life feels joyful and expansive? And it may just be that you need to pull it back at work or ask your boss for some help. Because a lot of times we won't do that. That it doesn't necessarily mean you have to blow your life up. It's just like it might feel like the answer is to do that. And you can do that in many different ways. Do leave safely, leave in an empowered financial state. But the doing that, like with my clients, doing that financial work clears the at least that layer to create the freedom to make the decision, right? Like you have the once the financial piece is organized, it gives you the freedom to make decisions. The decision to stay, the decision to change jobs, start your own business, right? Things like that. And in the work, a lot of times, because money is a thing that we have to use in our day-to-day lives, it starts to reinforce your self-trust. If you're spending intentionally, you're building towards that goal that feels in alignment with how you want to live your life. It starts to reinforce that you are living your life intentionally in alignment with what you believe in alignment of where you want to point yourself, what you want to grow, how you want to help your community, all of the things that just doing, it's like the money becomes the real world application of the shifts you're making internally.
Exactly. It's more like a pillar. When a pillar is
Yeah.
within us, it's something that actually revolves back to us because money actually
Mm-hmm.
builds a very huge sense of emotions and it actually
Yeah.
triggers a lot of things. If we are not strong enough, we could actually be misled in a very huge way. And I sincerely appreciate you for the great insights you brought out in this conversation. Mrs. Victoria, there is also a question I normally ask during the end of the show from our
Mm-hmm.
forefathers, from our ancestors. There are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our forefathers' time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mrs. Victoria, what do you think that thing will be, Mrs. Victoria?
I think it's community. I like, and it got worse, I think, during COVID, at least in the United States, where we all just like dispersed. And like people are starting to pull themselves back into community, but like kids move away, then have grandkids without the grandparents. Like there was a reason that villages worked the way they did, is because it is hard. We're not meant to live by ourselves. We are meant to live in community. And I think technology can help us kind of do that, like big picture, but we need to remember the three-dimensional, that we need human touch. We like being needed and being able to be of service to your neighbors, to your friends, to your family is huge. And if we focus too much on the virtual, we forget about the connections that we really need to really feel like people and part of a bigger whole. Since we all are energetically and everything else, we're all part of the bigger one. And we emulate that in life would be a thing I would love us to bring back.
Very much beautiful. We are in a beautiful world, and if we can embrace it in a very beautiful way, I think we'll all live more profoundly well. And also, what our forefathers have also built, we'll also continue to build upon and also make things more better as well. Mrs.
Mhm.
Victoria, I want to use this opportunity to thank you for the time and the opportunity for us to have this profound and insightful conversation today. Thank you so much, Mrs. Victoria.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and wishing you all the best.
All right, Mrs. Victoria. Have a wonderful day, Mrs. Victoria. Bye bye.
Bye bye.